Welcome back to day 14 of Sourdough Starter from Scratch class, and today is the final day. Everyone who made it this far, I hope your starter's about ready to bake with. Okay, today we're gonna start with the float test. So mine, as you can see, first of all, here's where the rubber band was. So it did triple, but it's fallen to about here, so I'm not quite sure that this is gonna pass the float test. We're gonna try. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna feed again for another day and then try it again before I bake. If it does, I'll start baking a loaf with it tomorrow. So, without stirring at first, and it needs to be at peak, and that's part of my problem, it's already fell. Let me show you the webbing. So it looks really good, but you take a chunk, and then I have a bowl of lukewarm room temp water, and you're just gonna drop it in and see if it floats or if it sinks. And it sunk, which I kind of expected because, like I said, it's definitely not at peak because it's been 24 hours. Yeah, mine sunk. Make sure you're trying it when it's peaked, when it's at its highest rise point. And just do just a tad bit and put it in lukewarm to room temp water. Because it didn't flow, I'm just gonna keep going until it does. I'm gonna do the exact same thing, discard half and feed a half cup flour, quarter cup water. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is you need to decide if you're gonna bake using grams or if you're gonna bake using cups. I just never got a scale, so I always use cups, but I think baking in grams, you're gonna get more precise loaves. I just bake for my family and because I enjoy it, so I'm not selling it or I don't need it to be perfect. Obviously, I'm not perfect. So that's how I do it, but once you decide how you're going to do it, a lot of you may already be using scales, so you'll wanna find recipes to try. And one of my biggest tips is to try several recipes until you find one that works really well for you consistently. So just start watching people get recipes and try different things until you find the perfect thing. And I use my base recipe for my inclusion loaves also. The only time I would change it up is if I'm doing like a sandwich loaf or something that requires honey or oil or something different. But if I'm doing like jalapeno cheddar or cinnamon sugar, I'm just using my base recipe and then I'm adding the inclusions to that. So that's tip number one. Plan on trying several recipes. I think it took me like 20 some times until I figured out it was really not that serious and that I could just make up my own measurements, and that's why I do 1 cup starter, 2 cups water, 4 cups flour, and 2 teaspoons salt, because it's just doubling each thing. And it made it easy for me to remember, and I didn't have to pull out a recipe every time. This is in my head, so I know that. Another thing is, I like to do a lot of same day recipes. Well, it's the same recipe. So if you're doing same day bake versus cold proofing, you can always bake any recipe and just skip the cold proofing. It's just that if you want a more sour bread, cold proofing is gonna help that. Or if you love to score and you want it to be pretty, scoring's easier if you cold proof. So we just love bread. I'm not a perfect scorer, obviously, because I'm not tedious. I do enjoy the scoring, but I'm just not that great at it. That's one thing, just so you know, cold proofing's not necessary if you really don't care to have the real sour flavor. The next thing is keep in mind how long it normally takes your starter to peak, because that's when you'll want to start your dough. Your starter, we're gonna feed it to bake. So basically, if you're using a cup of starter, you're gonna feed it a cup of flour, but you need to make sure before you start your dough that your starter has peaked. So some people, if theirs are taking like 10 or 12 hours to peak, then they can feed it before they go to bed. And then in the morning, it's ready to go. But if yours is like mine, it takes 4 or 5 hours, it's tricky. I'm an early bird, so I get up anyways early. So if I'm up till midnight or something, then I could feed it and then start it at 5 a.m. And you have a little time. Even if it peaks and starts dropping, you're fine to use it, you know, once it starts dropping a little. But I like to get up and feed it like at 4 or 5 a.m. because I'm getting up then anyways. And then by 9 or 10 a.m., it's ready for me to mix my dough. and my house is warm, so I'm going through all my steps of baking, and I can put it in the oven and have it ready for dinner all in the same day. I'm finishing up feeding my starter, but I just want to let you know that there will be the series coming, basically step by step of baking a loaf of bread. Watch for those. I am going to split them up. Majority of everyone said that they would rather them be split up. That way I can get just a little more detailed. But do keep in mind, I am an easy baker. I'm measuring in cups. I'm definitely not tedious. I basically don't use a lot of fancy tools. I do have like a dough whisk, certain things. I'll try to point those out to you, the things that I really do like and enjoy using. I do have a Dutch oven, but you can bake in loaf pans if you don't have a Dutch oven. There's other ways to bake without a Dutch oven also. So I will try in those videos to kind of talk about those things for those of you that don't have any extra tools. You can always just look up the conversions for cups to grams if you want to do it that way. If not, then spread your wings and find someone that measures in grams. There's so many good people out there teaching in grams. I really am super basic. I just do it for fun and my family enjoys it. I enjoy it. And it's just one of my favorite hobbies. So I'm gonna put my rubber band on, lay this on top, and set it aside, and we'll try the float test again tomorrow. I'll try to reach it at peak this time. Watch for the videos coming. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or the next day because I will need to wait until my starter's ready. So it may be a couple days. Thanks to everybody who joined in. This was a really fun class, and I feel like everybody was super interactive. And I'm hoping that you guys all learned a little something and enjoyed it. Everyone enjoy your summer.